Hi everyone and welcome to my LoD Meteor guide for the Wizard. This is a build that I have been playing a bit and I really enjoy it because of the visuals and because of the flow of the playstyle. It is a kind of forgotten skill that you can actually make work at least decently for T16 farming, and this is mostly what I want to highlight here. So the damage is not really great to push very high with this or speed farm GRs in any efficient capacity. These days Wizards have the Firebird set, which makes basically everything else obsolete besides Twister, so you can't really keep up with that. And Meteor, especially after the heavy nerfs to the Bazooka Wizard, does not really cut it. You can play a Star Pipe setup, especially in Season 24, when you have a big Ethereal and you throw those Meteors, but it's still not really going to be competitive because the buff is not really much bigger from those Ethereals than it is for the other top builds. But here, for this, I really enjoy just throwing those meteors, and you might too when you want to be a real wizard. So let's jump into the setup here. I'm mostly going to be talking about the T16 version. Essentially, this is either an LoD or an LON build. In my case, I've actually chosen the Legacy of Nightmare Rings because it allows you to get an extra legendary gem, which would be the Bane of the Powerful. You can easily go with Stone of Jordan plus Halo of Carini or something like that if you want to get the extra power from those items, but in general it doesn't matter too much. You have Meteor Shower as a main skill, so whenever you throw this you will obliterate almost the entire screen because they spread out, and if you cast it multiple times you will usually cover everything. So the gameplay is pretty straightforward. You have an Adder Walker that can be either equipped or on your Ethereal, and you teleport around infinitely and you just keep up your buffs a bit, like the Storm Armor or Force Armor and your Familiar and the Magic Weapon. So almost everything here is just buffs, and you throw meteors. So it's extremely simple and works extremely well when you're especially solo farming. The main issue here is that it's kind of weak even in T16, so you need a decent setup to make it feel really smooth and one-shot elite packs. So once you have, let's say, around 12k, 15k intelligence or so, this is very doable, but before that, not really so easy. But with Ethereals, for example, in Season 24, you can definitely play this at the lower end as well, and it's gonna feel great. Aside from the LoD gem or the LoN rings, you need two important items. Number one is the Grand Vizier, which is the Meteor Staff, gives you resource cost reduction and extra damage, and also the Nilfur's Boast, which gives you another massive damage bonus, and even more when you hit only few targets. So these are the key items here, and the rest is just LoD or LON items. So one important one is the Cinder Code, gives you some more resource cost reduction, and also the Price Fall for even more resource cost reduction, and otherwise you stack fire damage and you have a bunch of random items. Orb of Infinite Death can be used, but it's not really required. There are some other options if you want to get triple teleport with the Cosmic Strand, or if you want to get a higher elemental exposure value with the Primordial Soul. So both of that is possible, but here you can have Explosive Blast, Numlocked or Macroed, and with this you're gonna get another massive toughness and damage boost. But most of the time you might not really be hitting stuff because you're more on a ranged playstyle. And finally there's the Gold Wrap, which will keep you alive. So either you do it yourself with Halo of Carini and the Storm Armor, or you do it with the Gold Wrap and you're gonna be fine. You can juice up the setup a bit with the Harrington Waistguard, which works very well in T16. You can click on chests, you can click on weapon racks, you can click on corpses. All that stuff will proc it, so you have it up almost all the time with effectively roughly double damage. So this is a very neat option here. On your items you want to roll mainly resource cost reduction just to make it more smooth so you're able to spam everything, but at some point you're not really going to be in trouble anymore. And then you can just juice it up with more crit damage, crit chance and fire damage, and also maybe on the rings you can go with attack speed and damage range. So this is about it for the main setup for T16, which is where this build is mostly useful, but I quickly want to highlight some other setups and what you would change. For example, in a solo push variation with Meteor Shower, you would go a bit more tanky with something like Stone Gauntlets plus Ice Climbers, and you can have a Shame of Desire and the Spectral Blade Barrier Blades. So you can fit in the Black Hole, and then you have this that gives you the shields, and like this you can stack up and keep your squirts active, and you just throw your meteors similar to the T16 version, but it's not really going to be very strong. There's also the Star Pact variations where you focus on one big meteor on your convention cycles, or maybe a few more before that to maybe proc an Oculus ring. So here you always want to fill your resources to full and then throw the meteor, and especially have a big impact on the arcane rotation. Otherwise this works similar. And there's finally the reverse Archon versions, where you have the Swarmy and the Fazula, and you use your Archon to do a big meteor nuke when you come out of Archon on your arcane rotation. So this is a kind of complicated setup to play, and it's also a bit more difficult because you have to stay alive while making the pull while in Archon, so you can't really do that much there. You don't really have great protection for your Square's necklace or for yourself in general. There's no shielding mechanic really besides galvanizing ward. So overall a bit clunky and not really recommended, but I wanted to highlight it anyway. And that's also about it for this video. So essentially build your LON or LOD setup, throw meteors and profit. So quite easy, quite simple, and has amazing visuals. This is why I like it so much for T16 farming. And since Firebird, for example, is not really great there, you can just go with this because why not? So hope you're gonna enjoy this, hope you liked the video, and I'll see you guys next time.